Okay, good afternoon everyone, welcome to the press conference. If you could raise your hand for me if you'd like to ask a question, that would be much appreciated. We'll start off, Grigor, just tell me how it felt for you out there today.
Yeah, good match, much better than yesterday. Obviously it's never easy when you have to come back to play the next day after playing 5 sets. But I'm just glad the way I played, I put the match together, and also the way I recovered. I think that was the key, and stayed within the match as much as possible. So I think overall I did the basics very well today.
Thank you.
Hi Grigor, Liam from Quality Shots. Congrats on the win. You mentioned after the match to bring on the expectations. You want people to bring on expectations for you. Do you set very high expectations for yourself, or do you put that much pressure on yourself, or do you try and be free in your sort of mindfulness and also playing free on the court?
As I said, out on the court, I think the biggest expectations are coming from myself, and yes, I always have very high standards, and I think just as I think it's a good plus to have. Sometimes it plays a little game with you, but in the same time, the expectations they're always gonna be there regardless where the source of it is from. So on that end, there's not much I can do. I can only control what I have, and what I have is my game in front of me. And then how the game itself is gonna unfold, or how I'm gonna play my match, it depends entirely on me. Of course, you gotta play an opponent on the other side as well, so that makes things a little bit more difficult. But it is what it is, and I think that's also partially the beauty of the game.
Hi Grigor. Yeah, you seem to be serving really well today. We've given the conditions outside. Were you happy that you're, under the roof today?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was very, very happy, honestly. I don't think I've played under the roof at all, and yeah, I'm just very grateful I was able to play that match there. So yeah, I think today was my turn just to play there. As simple as that. Very appreciative of that, and again, I was also able to maximize everything that came at me today, and this was it was a good end result.
Great, congratulations.
Thank you.
Just wondered, when you're in London for Wimbledon and Queens, what have you, are there any things you like to do when not playing tennis, like visit art galleries or?
I used to, but I don't know, the past, I think 5-6 years, I have not gone out of Wimbledon, which is very, very unlike me. Yeah, I don't know. I think I just want to maximize my time off the court in terms of rehab and things that I can do better. I think before I could keep up with a lot more things outside the court, and make sure that I come back the next day and I feel like fully ready and have fresh legs, fresh mind. But in the same time, like now, I cannot just walk all around London and come back and expect the next day to be fully at its best. I think when you want to be the best, when you want to chase that higher end, you really need to maximize that in every corner you can possibly can. So I don't want to have any stone unturned. So in saying that, I do the maximum I can to rest, to do the rehab, to do exercise, basically invest all my time on myself, and I feel great in terms of body and everything like that. But also I have to realize that I'm not 22, 23 years old where they can do a bunch of things throughout the whole day, and then the next day just as if nothing happened. So I'm mindful of that. However, I when I get out there on the court, my game speaks for itself. So yeah, I'm just wanna get every edge I can possibly can.
What did you used to do when you were in London when you were young?
Oh my God! Don't open that door. Yeah, next question, please.
So far, these championships, when you have a debrief with your coaching team, how often are the things that pleased you the same things that pleased them about your performance?
Good question. I think we all are very easy with things, like before the match and after the match and during the match. But I think as a player, you tend to have a seriously big ego, and I think this is also a point where I think that the maturity needs to kick in a little bit to listen a little bit more to your team, because that's they scout, they watch matches, they speak to stats people and stuff like that, so they have a little bit more knowledge, I think. So you have to be fairly open-minded. I always try to do that, to be as mindful I can of that, because of course sometimes as a player you're like, you know what, I know better, I'm there, which is the case a lot of the time, but in the same time you gotta have also full trust in your team and in yourself. So I think when those two things come together, like you're finding a middle ground.
And just as a follow-up as well, I know you've spoken about confidence and you've spoken about your experience. Coming into this, back in the top 10 for the first time in 6 years, did that do anything did a switch go off that made you feel a bit differently coming here this time?
In what sense?
Feeling unbeatable.
No, but it made me. No, it's not that. I don't believe in such a thing like unbeatable or stuff like that, because there's a reason why all of us are there, right? So it's like everyone thinks that they can beat everybody. So that's the challenge, right? That's why we like the challenge more so than anything else. And I just felt like, I don't know, there's not that much else for me to prove to anybody. And this is all comes back to the pressure and stuff like that. I have nothing to prove to anybody. I just want to prove things to myself. I don't play for anybody, so I can just as easily do whatever I want, and let's say sit back and enjoy the ride of whatever else is out there. But in the same time, I don't think I'm gonna be good and happy with myself. So there were things that you need to change, and also the one thing is I never wanted to settle and be too comfortable with what I have in front of me. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm still pushing, I'm still trying, and still torturing everyone in my team to find that extra edge. And for whatever it is, I'm on it, because I don't want to, first I don't want to have any regrets. And I can say that I've lost some valuable years on the court, I can say that, but in the same time there's no regret. I mean, like I've learned other stuff, so it's like now I just want to put it all together, and it's a pretty interesting ride. It's very, very different than something that I've ever experienced.
You'll take two more, Willie first and then on the front.
Sure. How would you describe your matches with Medvedev and what the challenge would be potentially in the next round?
Yeah, it's always battles, I feel, against him, and even when the matches have gone one way or the other on both ends, it's we always, I think, push each other to very different places. I feel like every time we play, it's a little bit of a different match. We kind of both know our tendencies in terms of game style and all that. Now I think we've played only once on grass. I'm not so sure, many years ago. But yeah, it's just a whole new match. Like honestly, I don't really think about it like that far ahead. I just want to first reassess what I did today, what I did in order for me to put myself in such a position like today, or whoever I'm playing next. I'm still gonna look after my game. I don't think I'm gonna try to change something just because of our previous matches. But what I would try to do is, play the game that I want to play.
You said you know each other's tendencies. When you think of what makes him as strong an opponent as he is, what would you think is the most telling factor in the way he plays?
He's a great competitor, great competitor. I would say one of the best out there. And he's just nothing is given there. So that itself makes already a very tough player to play. Forget about all the shots and everything else, but those are the matches that I want to play, and those are the stages I want to be at. So on that end, I'm looking forward to it.
Ciao.
Ciao.
You and Musetti are the last panda playing with one hand backhand in the.
Is it the last panda?
Pandas, you know, that the animal,
Yeah,
they
of
are
course.
disappearing, you know.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean,
You always come up with some good stuff, man. Yeah. Last pandas.
Okay, the last panda and survivors. And do you think that with one hand backhand now on grass is different than it was maybe 10 years ago? And what is the difference between your backhand and the one of Musetti, you know, if you see any?
Well, of course it's different. I mean, I always say not one-handed backhand is the same as the other. It's just how it is. I don't know, I think his grip on a backhand is a little bit more closed than mine, for example. But as you said, we're gonna see more. I mean, less and less people playing with one hand. That's for sure. I really believe in that. The game has speed up so much. The players are bigger, stronger. Everyone is serving so much bigger than before. So a lot has changed in the game. But I always say there's still ways to find around that type of a game. You know, for example, on a backhand, you have a little bit of a bigger reach, right? When you're with one hand, you can use your slice to set up the point. Of course, it's a little bit more extra work. However, you still can produce something with it. So there's always, also for one-handers, I feel there's always a way that you need to keep a constant improvement. Because you can never settle enough with what you have. At least that's how I am. I can speak for myself.
Thanks very much, everyone. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.